Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Monday the 7th of March 2022. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to use the amazing Thoth Tarot for today's reading. Let's see what the cards have to say about Monday and what this day is going to look like. So I'm just going to shuffle these a few times and choose 3 cards. Let's have a look. Okay, so first we've got Strength, the 9 of Wands. Oh, thank goodness, the worst is behind you. Last week was very challenging energy-wise in terms of the astrology. I mentioned this in the weekly horoscope that I did earlier. But some of that difficult, challenging energy now dissipates. It's replaced by other concerns, okay, that are much more practical and earthy in nature. And then finally, we've got the Princess of Cups. You can manage those circumstances because you're willing to learn, you're willing to listen, and you're willing to use your intuition to navigate challenging circumstances. Nice. Okay, so the 9 of Wands usually shows a young man with a bandage on his head standing in front of a wall of wands, and he's chosen one wand, which creates an opening in this wall of wands. So he's able to simplify by picking 1 or 2 things that he really cares about instead of trying to manage all of his circumstances at the same time. So prioritizing is a good idea. Keeping it simple is a good idea. And he stands in front of the wall of wands. So the big challenges are now behind him. He's able to focus on healing. He's able to focus on the one thing that brings him joy and that gives him a sense of direction. Here in this deck, it's interesting. We've got a full moon happening. We've got the sun up here. The sun is your conscious identity, who you feel you want to be, what is empowering and interesting to you. And then the moon is about your feelings and the inner processes. And because we've got these two opposing each other, the moon and its influence is super, super strong. Your feelings guide you, and we've got the symbol for Sagittarius there. Sagittarius is the centaur. The centaur has a bow and arrow. That arrow is always pointing at something in particular. So the cards are really underlining this fact that it's important to focus on 1 or 2 things maximum and to really not overwhelm yourself with trying to do too much, because focusing on 1 or 2 things allows you to be really productive, to feel very good about the whole process, to get a lot done, to make a lot of progress, and to find the whole process kind of easy and enjoyable even. Now, the moon as well, when it's full, the energy is heightened. So with it being in Sagittarius, one, I feel that your intuition is going to speak to you very loudly and clearly, and it's going to urge you to do stuff for yourself. You like going to the beach, so please take an hour today to do that for yourself. You'll enjoy it. And then second of all, it is about learning and academia and travel and setting goals and achieving those goals. Just think of the centaur always kind of rushing towards something. So you're not going to feel apathetic or a lack of drive or a lack of energy. I feel the opposite is true. You feel super energized and you're really chomping at the bit to pursue something that is of interest to you specifically. So that's great because it immediately means that you're somewhat immune to outside pressures and influences. Then we have the Devil, and the Devil is the 15th card in the Major Arcana. The Devil is a card that talks about an excessive focus on practical circumstances and the details. So one, I'm getting that if you try and do too much and you don't simplify, you'll get somewhat muddled and you'll feel like, wow, I'm like this workhorse here. All I do today is slave away. I feel trapped. And that's the opposite of this, adventure and fun. So again, another way the cards are saying, please don't overdo it and give yourself a break. And then the Devil usually shows 2 people chained to this figure in the center. And it's all about being disempowered and feeling like you have no choice. And you do have a choice today if you listen to what you find interesting rather than what you feel you ought to do, like your obligations and your duties, you're going to have a much better time, and you'll be able to maintain that sense of freedom and joy rather than feeling obligated and oppressed. So it's extreme in the sense that either I let myself be kind of bullied into doing things that I don't want, and I feel a sense of being trapped almost, versus total freedom. So usually when we have such major extremes, it can feel somewhat irritating and difficult. But because we have the Princess of Cups, who's kind of the Knight of Cups, the knights being extreme in themselves, you're able to manage this energy much better than you would on other days. And that's why I feel you're going to have quite an easy time, because it almost feels normal to simplify and to make decisions for you and to not let yourself be talked into stuff. It's something that you naturally know how to handle, even if at other times that's a struggle. That's what the princess gives you. And that's so interesting to me, because the knight cards I usually look at as extremes and kind of having to manage your emotions a little bit. I've never had it like on this day where the princess or the knight gives you a gift. The fact that you are able to think in a dual way, all or nothing, extreme, here or there. It's like, wow, I can manage things that usually would seem totally topsy-turvy. And in fact, I'm actually enjoying this because it's interesting. It's aligned with my nature, and I'm certainly not going to be bored on this day. So we've got a couple of symbols in this card. We've got the swan. The swan is a desire to perfect yourself. It's a desire to become the best version of you, which can often put a lot of pressure, well, always puts pressure on and is extreme in itself. So if that's your main goal, and if you want to improve any aspect of yourself, that's one thing that you can really devote the day to and make a lot of progress with. Then we have this fish. I'm going to say that's a salmon. And the salmon is strength, emotional strength, and doing things which seem impossible to others. You know, the salmon always jumps upstream, and then we have all those National Geographic pictures of the bears kind of plucking them out of waterfalls and things. But if you look up the salmon, it's one of the most amazing animals that we've got on this planet. They swim upstream once a year to kind of lay their eggs and things, and it's seemingly impossible because these poor things have such hard lives. And that's the blessing here again of this card, that anything that is hard, or where other people would say, oh wow, doesn't she have a lot of problems? Bless her, poor thing, she has to work so hard. That's something that you don't feel any self-pity over, and you actually see that as a real talent of yours, to be able to do difficult. I mentioned this, I think, a few weeks ago, but not only have you done difficult before, so it doesn't faze you at all, second of all, you enjoy difficult on this day. You enjoy extremes. So with that said, face the one thing in your life that is really challenging and resolve it once and for all. You know, I'm deliberately ignoring this. I'm not even going to get into that. Finally, we've got we've got a turtle or tortoise there, and that's about patience with yourself. And it's again the opposite meaning of the swan. How can I perfect myself now if I have to be patient? I want it all now. As Carrie Fisher said, instant gratification takes too long. I want it yesterday. So you have these dual aspects of yourself integrated perfectly, and that's the one thing that you need to make the most of this Monday, which at other times could then throw you. So in my experience, when things are more difficult or challenging, on the other side of those difficulties are even greater outcomes and greater results. So by engaging with the day and doing your best, you'll be very surprised at how much progress you make and what a good outcome you have in the evening. I feel that this day is going to deliver something fabulous to you that you're going to be delighted with. Delight. Nice. I love that. Okay. So number-wise, let's have a look. We've got 15 and 9. That's 24. And 1 is 25. 2 and 5 is 7. And 7 in numerology is the mind and creativity. So use your ability to combine things which are fundamentally opposed to each other under normal circumstances. Get creative with your practical stuff that you have to do in your life. Keep it simple, 1 or 2 things at most, and you'll be able to redesign them in a way that you like and get the outcome that you want. So have a fabulous day. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to order your reading with me. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. In my personal readings, I use astrology, the tarot, and numerology. So if you have any questions about your life purpose or circumstances that you can work with, or which ones you should ignore, or what the priority is, or you have any questions about your circumstances or the future, or anything really that you want to ask, please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. The astrology chart particularly gives me so much information about you on a soul level. I think it's such an amazing resource. So if you'd like me to have a look at yours, please do get in touch. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.